Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Celtic Unrestricted View. I'm JP, and joining me tonight, my good man, Mr. Ryan Clifford. Well, Ryan, obviously, I feel as if it's been an absolute eternity since I've been on here. I think it always starts to feel like that when international week's been, mate, and there's no Celtic, not really much to go on in terms of maybe some injuries and obviously the team coming back for international duty. We'll need to see how things are in terms of the way we're shaping up. Hopefully we don't pick up any more injuries, because it's the last thing we need. Obviously we'll touch on that tonight. But first of all, mate, hope you've had a nice weekend. It's good to see you. And as I said, it's good to be back on and with you again.
Yeah, good weekend, mate. Obviously, I was with yourself at the weekend as well. So, yeah, good
Yep.
weekend. Obviously, Scotland were the better results, but as a friendly, so we'll take that as it comes. I've obviously got the World Cup to look forward to. So, but yeah, obviously Celtic back into gear this weekend. Hope for no more injuries during the international break, which is obviously vital for us because the last time we need any of our vital players get injured. So yeah, hopefully players stay healthy, injury free, and we've got a massive game at the weekend, mate, because this game at the weekend could shape the rest of the season. So we need everybody back fit, and hopefully we can continue. Obviously, getting a bit fresher players because we didn't need it, mate. The squad's obviously lacking a bit of depth.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely feel that is the case, and obviously be good to see the team back this weekend. Be good to see what this kind of what's happening, etc. Obviously, as we always do, and as I like to start things off, we will say hello to everybody that is tuning in and joining us across the platforms. We'll come to a few comments. First in tonight, we'll get Theo Isaac. He says, as usual, we comments of good job. Martin Flanagan's in as well. He said, how we doing, lads? Hope you are well. JP and Ryan. It'll be good to have the lads back Sunday. Hopefully 3 points. Do you think international break has came at a good time for Celtic? Hail, hail, lads. And he then alludes to that. He says, in terms of getting players more fitness, more training, going into the last 7 games, boost with Engels and Osman coming back, etc. And he says, hail, hail. Plunge says, very good evening. And evening, JP, Ryan, and the chat. There's wee Willie Coleman as well. He said, evening, lads, and the chat. Mark McDonald joins us also. Hail, hail, JP and Ryan and the rest of the chat. Paradise Huddle, you'll never walk alone. Hail, hail, boys. Chris Murray, a very good evening to you too, sir. Francis Lester joins us as well. Evening, boys and girls. Cheryl and Gary also joins us. Good evening. I hope you're very well. Ryan says, check your mic, JP. It definitely wasn't me. That's how Ryan disappeared. That's how Ryan disappeared. So check your manners, Ryan. Check your manners. How dare you, Ryan? T1967, you better be having a laugh. It's my first night back. Don't have a go at me too early. I'm ready for you. Don't worry. And James says, Ryan, zips and mics don't work. Definitely no. That's how he's been away and took Sean.
Well, and the day work, but it's at 10:30. That's when they work.
Aye. Greenlad 67. I don't know if that's a Hulk or no, Ryan. I'm not so sure. He says he's Greenlad, so it could be the Hulk. Could be a bit like, could be somebody else. I don't know. The Jolly Green Giant. Who knows? One of you two munching a packet of cheese and onion under the table. Definitely no me.
It was my zip.
Give you bad breath before your bed, that one. Tell you, doing that. So, Paradise Huddle says, I'm on the Bonnie Scotland. Yep, definitely. I'm on board with that. I'm a big Scotland fan as well. So, I think the next one in is Joe Curran. He says, well, if we're wanting to win this league, we can't afford to drop anything till the end. Let's back the team. Hail, hail. I do agree, Joe, definitely. Right, first of all, we've done enough of the comments. Thank you everybody for joining us across the platforms. I hope you are all well. I hope you all had a lovely weekend. Just about to tell you how our weekend went, and obviously start touching on that. So I don't know if most of you will have already seen this, but if not, I'll put you in the picture. So on our YouTube channel right now, you will see it sitting ready to go. So we were busy over the weekend. Myself, Ryan, and Daniel travelled to Dundee on invitation from Dundee North End Football Club. And basically what we've done there is we have recorded a wee day with them, and obviously what goes on in and around that football club. Obviously this came as an invitation from Lewis Toshney, Celtic, an ex-Celtic defender. Obviously went on, he had a good career, played with Dundee United, etc. in the football in the league in Scotland as well. Lewis is now one of the co-managers at Dundee North End, along with ex-Scottish Premiership. Well, at the time it would have been the Premier League, not the Premiership. Defender Kevin McNaughton. He then went on and played with Cardiff. Kev, I think he had 4 Scotland caps, my memory serves me right as well. Played with guys like Robbie Fowler. Played against Henrik Larsson. Had a very good career, very good education around the game. Kev's also been on the channel. We also touched on a chat or two with some of the Dundee North End players. We managed to talk to Bobby Lynn, guys like Frankie Devine, Liam Gibb, and ex-Celtic midfielder, Ross County midfielder, Dundee United midfielder, so on and so on. He's probably got a bigger career than your chat manager history, Ryan. But Michael Midge Gardine as well. So we were busy at the weekend, folks, and we have recorded something different for the channel for you guys to try and get your teeth into, and it's something that we have also been very, 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 very interested in doing for quite some time. Ryan, I was just really happy, obviously. It's been a bit of a wait, mate. It's been in the pipeline for a wee while, but we managed to get it over the line.
Yeah, it was a good day on Saturday. We obviously guys at Dundee North End. Fantastic hospitality, fantastic football club, amazing guys behind the scenes. Some of the guys who are involved in the vlog work very hard behind the scenes. We'll not mention too much because obviously want to let you kind of watch it and get more details, but it's a fantastic football club, and if you do live in Dundee or you don't live in Dundee, if you just want to take in a game, I would definitely take in the kind of hospitality, which will, as mentioned in the vlog. So yeah, obviously Midge, Bobby Lynn, Lewis, and all other guys, Liam Gibb, Kev McNaughton. It's a fantastic team, fantastic guys, JP, and not just that, mate. They've got a good football team as well. They've got a good basis behind the scenes. They've got really good ambitions, mate. So yeah, they're fantastic football club, mate, and they couldn't have welcomed us anymore. It was amazing hospitality. We appreciate them for giving us opportunity to go and film and get some of the interest in the football club. So yeah, fantastic day, and I hope the vlog did it justice to the viewers, mate.
Yeah, no luck, it probably will me right enough, and I'll probably come across the ring, might not. With all kidding aside, I must mention another guy before he texts me probably the now, because that's the way he is. He likes to do so. It is indeed the director of football at Dundee North End, Gary Manini. Gary was also one of the names that did invite us to Dundee North End at the weekend. So, yeah, we were so happy to take up the invitation, just as Ryan touched on there, folks. And, yeah, as I said, it was, I don't think we're doing it justice enough to just how well we were welcomed. Ryan, I was more taken aback with the fact that everybody knew who we were. You know, and these are people that we had just met on Saturday for the first time. Some of these guys that would never, I mean, even as you mentioned, Ryan, the hospitality side of things, the way we were looked after, we were fed and watered. That says me, man, I think you're the first one in the Celtic podcast history, man, to ever sit and actually get 5 courses. Daniel only get 2. I don't know, but I really don't know how that happens. I don't know if you've been pulling out cards saying your pals with Mendes or showing photos of you in the loaner together with the hoodies. I don't know what we're doing there, man, but how you get 5 courses and me and Daniel only get 2 and kick back out into the wind, mate, is beyond me.
Well,
Like, talking straight.
see when you were watching the game, I was giving the lads free subscriptions to the half-10 show, so I'm well in with them, mate.
Even the dogs were excited, by the way, so the conversation must have been flowing up there, man. And I'm talking about the ones that were standing at the side of the park with their owners. Aye, as I say, it's a great wee day all round. And as Ryan says, we do hope the video and the vlog, as Ryan says, does it justice. And obviously, that will premiere on our YouTube channel at 7 o'clock this coming Thursday evening. So if you folks are interested in a different look on football, etc., that'll be there for you to have a look as well. I'm pretty sure all the Dundee boys are going to be tuning in. The link has been sent out. So, Francis, funny enough, mate, right? So, the outstanding, the conversation at the weekend. So, I've actually come home on Friday for being away last week. Ryan left on Thursday night with Daniel to get to Dundee, and I still managed to get to Dundee before Ryan did. I don't know how that happened, but the one thing was for sure, we did certainly take the sunshine, mate. Isn't that right, Ryan?
No, it was actually a really nice day. It was cold though, but it was a sunny day, Francis. So, but aye, obviously Tenerife and Gran Canaria is good to Francis. So we've got a wee bit of a glow about us, but that'll be away in a few weeks when it starts pissing rain in Glasgow again. So we'll be back to being a ghost.
By the way, Francis, don't talk too soon because depending on what happens on Sunday, we might turn a sheet of white sooner or later.
I know.
But aye, that might come soon. But no, Ryan, as I said, obviously Premier on Thursday night. It's just it brings something. It's a different outlook for us to do because it is something that, I mean, myself and you, we could talk football for hours and days, months on end, mate. So it gave us another opportunity to do what we really enjoy. With what you've mentioned there is really, really good people and kind of like-minded people as well who really enjoy a good football chat, mate.
Yeah, it was really good to get obviously more detail with obviously that level of football. People don't really know about too much. Well, some people might do, obviously, if you're involved in the game, but some people might not know what goes on behind the scenes at low levels and kind of the sacrifices and the amount of detail and everything that goes into the football club. Obviously, there as well. So at that level, so we always talk about Celtic and everything else and the work that Celtic do, Rangers, Aberdeen at this level, and it doesn't really change at that level. So it's just a different money situation, different players, different. It's a different situation, but it's the same, if that makes sense. So yeah, hope for the vlog does it justice, mate, and hope for the viewers enjoy it because it was enjoyable to film it. It was an enjoyable weekend as well. So thanks to the guys for letting us film and hopefully they enjoy it as well.
Yeah, 100%. Now, back to matters of more down closer to home, mate, which is the team we all love, really, in Celtic. So the boys are back this Easter Sunday, 4:30 kick-off. I know Plunge is saying there, why not go to Dundee this weekend and take in the game? I'm pretty sure those tickets are like hot cookies. They're definitely very hard to get when you get to the, we're not quite there yet, man. I don't think we're on. We might be on the Dundee North End guest list for eternity now, but I don't think we'll be on. I think that's as far Dundee's guest list. We're getting to the now, man, before we can. I think we need to go a wee bit more to get onto other guest lists. Would you agree?
Aye, well, there's more chance of Liverpool media getting to Celtic mate than me and you, mate. So I don't see that happening very time soon.
Aye. Mark, I didn't know because fortunately enough, I looked like my passport photo, so they just took that when I scanned on the way up. But apparently Ryan and Daniel get stopped 3 times, once at Stirling, once at Perth, and then once getting into Dundee or at the control bit. So, aye, that's how they were. As Gary, the director of football, will probably tell you, they were late getting there, so you can blame the passport control, mate. I try to get up there. But no, all kidding aside, Ryan, obviously, as I said, it's international break just now, but the players tonight is called no more slip-ups. It is at a point in the season, mate, where, the Dundee United game probably one too many as well, if you ask me, there and then, but it is definitely do or die now, mate. It's you drop more points, mate, and it could be absolutely cocoa compared to your league season.
Aye, you don't really want to think of that, but you need to look at what could happen if we don't win, and obviously if you win, then it keeps you going. But it's getting to the stage of the season where I can't remember who said the comment, but they said about, I don't know if it was Michael Ross that says it, I'm not sure, but about us having high blood pressure. That's why we're tanned, possibly, because it could be even worse on Sunday if we don't win. So I think we need to be, as much as we love Celtic and we want to say no, we'll get there. I mean, we need to actually look at the possibility that if we get beaten Sunday, the league could be finished on Sunday, depending on other results. So obviously 8 points. Obviously we'll talk about the positives if you win, but the negative is if we do get beat JP, you're 8 points. If Hearts and Rangers win, just say it goes against us and they win and we go 8 points behind. I think it's 7 games to go, something like that. 6-7 games to go. 8 points. Hearts would need to have and Rangers possibly. Mayor obviously. Hearts would need to have an absolute calamity to not win the league, to be honest with you, in 6 games. So, and if Hearts didn't then go and win the league, then I would say it's pretty poor for Hearts' standards, even though they've not been there in a long time, probably in a long bit of history. They've not been this close since the last time they're really close, which is a long time ago. Then it's pretty poor. I know McInnes is talking about what the money Celtic and Rangers spend and all this. See if you're 6 games to go and you're potentially 5 to 8 weeks, 5 to 8 points ahead, and you don't win the league, that's bad on Hearts. It doesn't matter how much money you've spent or what's happened in the season. If you're just say 8 points, if you're 8 points clear and you're still to play us and Rangers and potentially in Derby, and you don't get to the end of the season with a league title, JP, for me, that's pretty poor for Hearts. I know that won't be in the media though. That'll be unlucky Hearts they've done. If Celtic Rangers win it, Hearts were unlucky, they've done well, good season. We'll see if I'm a Hearts fan. I'm going to get to this stage now. I'm hoping to win the league now. Forget about what if we do or unlucky. No, we should win the league now. If Hearts are 5 or 8 points ahead, mate, it's in their hands. Let's be honest, it's in Hearts' hands to win this now. But you flip it, and if we do win, it gets you back on track. It keeps the pressure on Rangers and Hearts. And obviously, if you then beat St Mirren, then you've got a few games to go, mate, and you've still got Hearts and Rangers at home. Potentially, obviously, they've got each other and they've got Edinburgh Derby potentially as well. So there's loads of twists and turns, but we need to be honest here, and it is Hearts just to lose now. But it's still a long way to go, but we need to win on Sunday because I'd try and be the most positive guy if I can, JP, but if we don't win on Sunday, I think the majority of the fan base will, I don't want to say they'll give up, but there'll be a feeling of deflation and there'll be a feeling of it's got to take an absolute miracle, mate, and I think we need to be honest about that. But let's just try and get the victory and try and get some positivity because there's been a lot of negatives about the club now, mate, and we need to try and be positive. And it is hard when you're seeing performances like that on the pitch, like we did at Tannadice. It is hard, but we need to try and support the players because we're probably only take away the management and stuff. We need to help them across the line if they can. So must win on Sunday, mate, all costs, as Cheryl and Gary says there, mate. So I don't know what you feel about obviously coming up to Sunday, but Hearts and Rangers could drop points and they might drop points, but we can't rely on them dropping points. We just need to win our games, mate, and then hopefully that's good enough.
Yeah. I think, I mean, I've said this for, how many say, years now, mate. I think every game for Celtic's a big game. Every game feels as if it's like a cup final. Because with Celtic, mate, for a long time now, we've been a team to beat and we've been a team that everybody wants to beat. So everybody, teams will try that wee bit extra harder against us, and we're the team that teams want to, because Why is that? You know, why do teams want to do that? Because we're the standard setters. That's why. We've won the most. We're the most successful club in this country by a long stretch of the imagination. And yeah, and we've pretty much obliterated Scottish football in terms of what we can win and in terms of the success we've had in the, through the time. I was on just a short time ago, as you know, Ryan, with the lads at BBC Sports Sound, Ryan Stevenson and that were on, and I'd said to Ryan even that day, I said, we'll give or take 1 or 2 seasons, Ryan. No, I don't think anybody can argue with me that Celtic have had it all their own way. They've dominated pretty much. You know, we're now at a stage of the season, we're in uncharted waters just now, Ryan. But normally Celtic have got to, it's finished. We're going into Easter weekend with cigars and flip-flops and beach boys all ready to go in the summer again, mate. That's normally the way it's been. This season's it's not been. So the reason we're Celtic fans are feeling the way that they are just now is because they're not used to us. We're not used to us. We're used to looking forward to, we might have a Scottish Cup final day out as well. That might still be the case this season as well, but what I mean is normally things are a bit more clear in terms of the pathway and these things are happening. We comment for Big Bev. How you doing, big man? Hope all's well with you as well.
Hope you're well, mate.
Cheers for tuning in, big fella. Hope all's good. So yeah, as I said, I mean, normally at this stage of the season, Ryan, we're normally the ones that are a bit more relaxed. My experience in football, mate, being involved with football, watching Celtic, I'm very relaxed just now. Extremely relaxed. That's if we even win the league, or even if we don't. If we don't, I understand we've had a bad season, right? I'm not going to throw my toys at the pram. I'm not going to start pointing fingers. I don't start throwing hate slurs about. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm just going to go, right, it's been a bad season. I can't really complain too much because, in terms of what I've watched this season's not been great. So we can criticise certain elements of what we've seen this season. We can certainly criticise decision making we've seen this season. We can criticise things that have happened. In terms of going too heavy, there's a lot of guys still, even in the football side of things and in the first team, they've also brought me a lot of happiness. They've brought me a lot of success as a supporter. And that's why, Ryan, I'm relaxed and I can't go too heavy on them. Players can play under par and they can have bad days at the office. Dundee United was certainly a bad day at the office for us just before the international break. That's for sure, especially second half. That's probably what, I don't know if it's watching Celtic when I was a young lad, the grounding I maybe had then set me up for what it is now. Because people think Celtic are bad, they know. Jesus, Johnny, man. Like, this is a different type of bad, mate. I remember a bad Celtic, and I can compare. I get it. It's because of the way that things have been, Ryan, and the way we've had it all our own way, and the way we've been champions for so long, mate, as far back as anyone can remember. There is an element of fear, and some of it is a bit of fear because they don't want to see Celtic not winning, or they don't want to see Celtic not doing this, or they don't want to see Celtic not lifting this trophy, or who's going to leave us and what's going to happen. And there's all this shoulda, woulda, coulda, and maybes and everything else. Listen, Larsson left the club. Celtic moved on. Right? And at that point, Ryan, there was a world there when people going, what we got to do when Larsson leaves? The next person will come along and that's Celtic will always be there. Celtic will remain the constant. It is going to be what it's going to be. And if Celtic don't win the league, then, it'll be through their own doing because we've not been good enough over the course of the 38 games. If Celtic walk away with nothing this season and we are where we are, it's a collective of wrongdoing. It's not just one or two, it's not just one individual or two individuals, it's a collective. But I understand, mate, that sometimes this will happen. It doesn't happen very often for us, but sometimes this is going to happen. And sometimes that's football, right? No, because even all the big teams and all the big leagues, they don't have it all their own way forever, and it feels like we've had it their own way for. I mean, it's the stuff of dreams, mate. I mean, the amount of success we've had, Brian. I can't even name a league in the world that's had the same amount of dominance as what we've had. And people might go, well, do you know what? That's because of the quality of that league and whatever. That is what it is. But to consistently win the amount of trophies that we've managed to win now, there's nothing short of breathtaking, mate.
No, in terms of the domestic success, listen, I celebrate that. I have celebrated it probably too much sometimes.
Yeah.
But I'm slightly different for you in terms of the way. Listen, we've all got opinions. We all see things different. I'm very, very angry and frustrated to know the way things are.
What's
I've
making you
said
angry?
it. Because the board have not ran it properly, mate, this year, and probably last year to certain degrees. I've said it for day dot for the start of this season. As the months has went on, people will come back at me maybe a different outlet, which is fine. Considering what Celtic had in the summer and what they had in January to go and spend, if Celtic don't win the league, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing Celtic don't win with everything they have at their disposal. Take away, I know Rangers spent 40 million, I get that. Hearts have got Tony Bloom, they're scouting the Jamestown, I get it. Celtic had over £100 million in the bank. And everything else, Brendan Rodgers, the players that were here, had an ample opportunity to get the £40 million, which I'm not going to go back on the summer, but everything snowballed for the summer, no good window, January, no great window. Mm-hmm. The fans with the board, everything it's all snowballing to it's not looking good. But my worry is, the people might come back to me what you worried about. We were very, very, not lucky, but we were fortunate that obviously who was involved with getting Don Mackay in and Ange. Obviously, Don Mackay left. Ange knew what he was doing with some of the players he signed. Ange knew that he had to get it done right away. He signed players that he knew, got deals done. Celtic moved on. Celtic rebuilded very quickly, and they went and won, I think, the double win Ange's first season. This is different because Hearts have now got a different outlook. Rangers have now got investors who, most people might say, Rangers will spend money. Might not spend 40 million a game, but they've got a board that are ambitious and want to spend money. Right? No matter what anybody thinks, they might not win the league, they might not buy the best players, but they've got a plan in place. Hearts have got a plan in place. Celtic have not got a plan. They've got a structure. They've got enough. As it stands right now, from what I'm looking at, it's a mess on the park and after the park. If we win the league, by the way, I'm away in this. It's going to, what a celebration I'll have, because I'm not expecting to win the league anymore. I was about 2 weeks ago. Now I'll be even more happy winning the league because he was performing. I can only take what I'm seeing. I get the players, i.e. McGregor, it's guys like that. They've got the ability to go, the mentality they have got it in them to go and win it because I've done it in the past. But the past means nothing to me on right now because what I've done in the past, I've celebrated it. I can't discount it. But what I'm seeing right now is nothing to what we've seen. It's on the park, after the park. Again, people might say it's not entitled, by the way. It's standards. But everything that Celtic have got behind the scenes and what they had to do in the summer and what they could have done, Celtic should not be sitting where they are in Scottish football. People can get back. That's fine, Barry. I'll debate it. I'll argue. That's fine. But if we're looking at it as a business perspective, football perspective, Hearts should never be ahead of Celtic. What Celtic have got at their disposal right now, never in a million years. And I know what you're saying with the 90s and sometimes a bit of the 80s, etc. Money was different back then. Celtic didn't have £90 million in the bank. Celtic didn't have Brendan Rodgers, Carl McGregor. I know there was Paul McStay that night. I get all that, but Rangers, we all know. I don't want to go into all the DBT stuff, but Rangers were spending money. Celtic didn't have money, and then just didn't win because the Rangers were far better than them. Tables have turned in the last few years. Celtic had all the money, and they were spending it, but they were only going above to make the club better. And this season's came to that. This season's came to it. The board. Now, this is my opinion. You might be different. Comments might be different. Celtic thought in the summer, we've got Brendan Rodgers, we've got these players, we'll spend a bit of money, we'll win the league. Hearts will be shit, Rangers will be shit, Hibs will be shit, we'll win the league. That's what I think the board's mentality is, JP. And now they've got a bit of a challenge, it's shit, what do we do? What do we do? Right, we'll get Nancy in. Oh shit, no working. All right, Martin, come back. And then, right, we don't want to spend money on that winger that Martin wants. Right, we'll give him 5 loan deals. It's no great, mate. If you look in, it's no great. So I'm just frustrated, mate.
Can I come in on that point? Mate, by the way, I do agree with you. Because that comes under what I was saying earlier about mistakes have been made. Definitely. I'm going to give my opinion in terms of up the stairs and how I see things happening at Celtic just now. I personally think there's been people in the roles now, they've been there far too long. I think we need a total clear head, a different head. Everything in life, I feel, every now and again, mate, needs a wee refresh and needs to maybe shake up in sort of direction and what way we're going to do that. Now, obviously, Celtic have had changes inside the building. Obviously, Peter Lawwell, who, despite what people might say, he was a long-term servant at the club. This is a guy that was sought after. Teams like Liverpool and Arsenal tried to get him in the past, Ryan. We know that for facts. And, Peter remained loyal to Celtic to stay in the role he did. He had various different roles at the football club. I'm not in there, so I can't give an opinion on what he did to do on a day-to-day basis. I just know he had different roles within the football club. In terms of the business side of it, he certainly looked after Celtic as best he could. In terms of the way Celtic were run, people might say that was the right thing. People might say that was the wrong thing. All I'm saying is he must have been really good for other clubs like the calibre I mentioned there to be coming in and try to take him away from his ring. So he must have done something in the football world. We understand he had a massive influence as well in the structural change of the Champions League, and he had a massive say-so in things there when he was on the UEFA board. So he did fight for that aspect of things for Scottish teams as well, and not just Celtic, just obviously the league as a whole. When the teams qualify, it's more of and this is, we've spoke to Anthony Joseph, he's told us that teams like Celtic see the way the Champions League is now sitting as a way of trying to make inroads in how Celtic or any teams in there get better. Unfortunately, this season we've not been able to get there. We weren't able to qualify. It was a really poor result for us. But I do feel that there's change needed upstairs. Now, that change obviously needs to be looked at, starting with Mr. Desmond and then coming down into these different roles. Guys like Michael Nicholson. I think things need to come to the point of change. Brian Wilson's already spoke about it in some of the interviews he's done in the media in his short time of the interim chairman role. So, but so I do believe that things are needed in terms of a shake-up in there. There is other elements of the football club I think need to be looked at. There was obviously a lot of mistakes made by Paul Tilsdale, which is why Paul was then moved out the football club, along with, like he says, Wilfred Nancy. It didn't work out for Wilfred Nancy. He tried to change too much too soon. A bit similar to Tony Mowbray, except Wilfred Nancy didn't rip out the spine of the team, whereas Tony Mowbray did that. But Wilfred Nancy tried to change too much too soon, and it just didn't work. What might have worked for him over in America, we spoke to Jonathan, and players responded to it over there. Our guys weren't able to do it, and it just didn't work out. And that's it. So, but sometimes again, mate, that happens. I'm sure Wilfred Nancy won't be the last manager that ever comes over Celtic's doors, and it might not work out. It's happened before. Happened under John Barnes. Happened under Tony Mowbray. I mentioned him. Fortunately, Ryan, we've seen Celtic that long now that on the manager side of things, it doesn't seem to happen too many times. I mean, I've only been able to rhyme off 3 there, especially in my lifetime, that I can remember that's not really did well. You know, we have been fortunate enough to guys like Martin O'Neill, Brendan Rodgers, Big Ange, guys who have done really, really well for the football club, and obviously will go down in another chapter of the club's history in a positive way. Guys like Gordon Strachan, where's my manners? Neil Lennon as well, both as a player and a manager. So, yeah, you know, but I just firmly believe this season, mate, similar to the COVID season, the way that all ended, and you know, this ways went that way with the fans being in the building, and the fans are now well within their rights. They pay a lot of money to go and watch Celtic. They are well within their rights. The problem, one of the main problems for me, Ryan, at the football club, and I don't think, I'm not too sure it's spoken about very often, is the negative characteristic that the club seem to have, mate. And I don't know whether it's down to PR or whatever, but they need a very good communications officer, mate, because there seems to be, it's like almost radio silence. Now, I'm not saying that Celtic need to come out and explain every move they're making. I know they can't. I know there's certain legalities that they'll not be able to tell the fans, you know, what's going on, etc. But there's small things that really get to me in a small way. Not much gets to me. I'm quite calm overall, but normally when it kind of leaves a sour taste in the mouth a wee bit, if it's a better term of phrasing, when you see things like Casper Schmeichel coming out in an interview telling us that his season's over. We've not heard that. Listen, I understand the side of, I was giving that as an example, but I understand the circumstances because, one, it's an international break. He's probably just been told the news that day, and it's all kind of really fresh and raw. His dad was there. There was a bit of emotion attached to that. Casper did everything apart from cry. I thought he was ready to. You could see some of his, when his eyes were filling up speaking about it. It's so raw to him, and obviously, more or less, that you know, he's basically having to bow out his football career now due to a bad injury that he's tried to manage by taking injections, and overall, it's just got the better of him. And yeah, so as I said, it's, you know, that's one of them. There's then these, we've spoke about it, mate, these cryptic messages that you see players coming out on social media, telling us, oh, they might be back for injury, or they're dropping egg timers and this and that in, and you know, I'm not a fan of that, mate. I don't like that. And you know, I certainly know a guy like Martin O'Neill will certainly not be happy with stuff like that if he finds out that players are doing that. He can't stop everybody. I get that, I understand that, but you know, Martin's come out today. That's probably the recent one, Ryan, and he's telling us about Jota and Carter Vickers now, telling us their season's finished. We initially all thought Jota was going to be back in January, because that's what Brendan Rodgers fed us when he was a manager earlier in the season. That's one of the things Brendan did say before he left. So yeah, you know, there's certain things, mate, that see when you've got fans, Ryan, that are all across the world, and they're as big as the Celtic fan base, mate. Like I'm saying, mate, I'm not saying they need to explain every single thing, because I know that's just silliness. That is quite, you know, far-fetched. But there are certain things, mate, they can come out and communicate better with. Like, this is an ongoing thing just now. Celtic need a new permanent manager, mate. So, you know, give us an idea of what kind of candidates are you going for? You know, give us even if you give us a list of, right, these guys could be potential targets. We have spoken to a couple of people already. There's been nothing at all, right? But I can also understand, or trying to understand, why there's been nothing as well. There's been a lot happened this season, mate, on and off the field. There's been a lot of noise coming out of Celtic again. And that's when I go back to the COVID season, Ryan. That, for me, that's a similarity, because that was similar. Celtic, there was a lot of noise coming out of Celtic. And remember, I be back then, mate, all started with Lee Griffiths coming back. He was overweight. That was a story in the tabloids. Then it went into Bolingoli, going away and doing his midnight, whatever he was doing, over to somewhere else that he shouldn't have been. Cameras in an airport, pick him up. He gets grassed in with, I don't know, some lassie, whatever it is. And then it was just all silliness, mate. Decisions were made that season as well when, the club went to Dubai and in the midst of a global pandemic. There was just lots of decisions being made that season, Ryan, that, again, similar to this season, mate, decision making's not the best. It's not on point. It's not the best for the football club. So for me, mate, I do agree. I do think there's definitely change needed. But then what does that look like in terms of change? Because I've always said it, mate, you need to be careful what you wish for, because the next guy that you're wishing to come in or to change over to, there's no guarantee whether he's going to be better than the guys that are already there, or, so in terms of that, mate, what does change look like?
In terms of, obviously, you've mentioned the COVID season. I've kind of gave that a bit of a buy in a way. Obviously, at the time, I was frustrated. And by the way, I think we talk about the club batting managers. Celtic were going for 10 in a row, and I know money was tight then because of the COVID situation. Clubs want to make enough money due to selling players and revenue. I get all that, right? I get it. I'm sure Celtic only spent about £13 million, by the way, on this, I think 6-7 players we brought in. But isn't a lot of money we spent to go for 10 in a row? I keep getting back to people say that this Celtic, they've backed their managers in some seasons. No every season. No every season Celtic have spent top dollar or they've brought in brilliant players. They've had a nucleus of players and have added to it, but I keep getting back to when Celtic went to Seville. The next year they got Michael Gray and Stephen Pearson. And some of the board members are still there. So it's no, Celtic have no backed every manager. Gordon Stanton didn't get backed. Mowbray didn't get backed. Tyler didn't get backed. So this myth about Celtic have backed every manager, it's not at all. It's Brendan Rodgers get backed. Brendan Rodgers is a top manager. Ange Postecoglou get backed. He's a top manager. See, when you get top managers, by the way, Neil Lennon done really well with his scouting department, no in terms of money spent. He had a good recruitment with him and John Park, and obviously they had some agents, we get Kayal, etc., which is fine, by the way. I'm fine with that, but this season for me is a total different stratosphere for the COVID season. In terms of what you're saying about mistakes, 100%, mate. This season for me is different because it's mistakes that could have been avoided massively. I.e., the summer recruitment, January recruitment, the communication between the fans for the board and everything else. But in terms of the change, mate, even if we did make a change and the guys come in, didn't do great, or they didn't do a good job, it's no a case of let's go back to the old guys, or why no? Well, we need to, no matter what happens, in my opinion, end of the season, win the league or no, or win the double or no, we need to move forward with some of these board members. Either they take a step back or we get new guys in. People are going to go, who's that? I don't know. I'm not involved in the club. I don't know how the logistics go about how you get board members. Is it like a government thing where you need to make a vote? I'm not involved in it, so I don't know the logistics. So all I know is whoever's involved in these conversations at the club, I'm probably going to say to Dermot Desmond, because he doesn't own the football club, but he's got a lot of power and majority shareholder. He's probably, him and the other, I can't remember the other name of the major shareholder company, they've got all the say-so kind of with the sounds at the club. So they'll decide who's potentially moving on, who's coming in. Is he selling his shares to this guy or that female or that company, whoever it is? Dermot Desmond holds all the cards at a football club, but it sounds it. He shouldn't, but it does. So it's really...
I think what will help, Ryan, as well, and I think this will be a great thing, is obviously this proposition that Lord Willie Hawkey's he's come up with. And obviously in terms of he's willing to put money in basically to back a more of a Celtic fan say so, being on the board. Now, my understanding is that's well underway, and there's fans, even as we speak, mate, signing into this. And every fan that signs into this is going to be, is going to have a vital part to play in future decisions that are being made at the football club. I only know early stages of it because I think it's still within its early stages itself, but Lord Willie Hockey he's invited every Celtic fan to to join us, and obviously I think that can only bode well, mate, because we all know he's got some sort of influence in there, mate. He sits beside the directors every game. Also know he's very good friends with a man you mentioned there. It's done very, very well at Celtic, both in his both spells, and Brendan Rodgers. So he's quite tight with some really important people in football. So yeah, mate, I think this one's one of those. Let's watch our space and see what happens there, because I don't think it's certainly not the Celtic board as a collective. They certainly can't just pull the shutters down completely, mate, and block everybody out. So, yeah, I think it's just one of those ones I'm watching this space. And who knows, mate, maybe this will be a part of this new kind of change as that we're chatting about here.
Aye, it's just we're waiting to see, mate, because we don't know everything that's involved and what's going to go behind the scenes, mate. But ultimately, until Dermot Desmond either gets lesser shares, if he sells some of them, or he decides to sell up, or whatever he decides to do with the football club. End of the day, no matter if some of the fans go 2%, 3%, he'll have a say. But if a guy's got 34% or 33, 32, 50, whatever, and you've got 1%, there's not got much to say. You've got a say, but you're not going to have a full say in who's getting a job or who's getting jobs, who's getting players in. Yeah. You'll have a say, but it might make a big difference. I'd like to know, obviously, the full details, and then I can go, right, maybe that might have a more say, and I think it is, but I can only go and, if somebody's got a massive say, they'll have a wee tiny bit of influence. But Dermot Desmond and the other shareholder company, I can't mind the name of it, but they're the biggest people at Celtic. That, Michael Nicholson might be the CEO, but everything goes through Dermot Desmond. That's the only way things should be working. It's the CEO is out to manage a football club to do with everything that he's got that's in his job title. He's no going, right, Desmond, can we do this? Can we do that? No, you're the CEO. You're paid nearly £1 million a year. That's your job. Dermot Desmond's a shareholder. he's no your boss. He's no Celtic. You're the CEO.
Not the owner. That's for sure.
That's what I mean. So the club definitely need new ideas, mate. They need modernised. Behind the scenes, now this is just my opinion, no anybody else's. The model's finished, mate. The Celtic model's done. The structure's finished. The plan that we've got in place has got us so far, and it's done because, by the way this season's went, it's showing. Even if we win the league, by the way, it's still showing that behind the scenes it's not working, and it has to change. Majority is recruitment, but like you mentioned, mate, we'll touch on the. What's this? Please tell me you two are advising on.
Please do use tell me advising shareholders and billionaire strategy. Stop.
I don't even know what it means. I'm not proposing anything. Personally, I don't know. I'm not a financial expert, but all I know is that Dermot Desmond and the other company that I don't know the name of.
We're certainly not in a. Certainly, from my perspective, I'm not in a position to do anything of the sort. And by the way, I will say just now, I tip my hat to whoever it is it takes to do with Celtic's figures, but to have the amount of money that's sitting in our bank account, playing in Scotland, we generate next to nothing in terms of revenue here for anything we win or TV deals or anything else. You've got to tip your hat to that. So that's the first thing I'll say. But in terms of advising and how to make money or how to, that's not my background.
I'm not in any situation to say to any. I've not got a fan. I'm no. Listen, I use a calculator to make sums. I'm no financially on point, but I do know in terms of this football club, Dermot Desmond and the other company, which I don't know, I do know the name of, but I can't remember the name of the company that's involved with Dermot Desmond, are the majority shareholders. So mostly everything the football club goes through the high-end shareholders. Is that not just common knowledge, or am I losing the plot? So if you've got 1%, like here's one thing, right? I've got tiny micro shares, like 0.01% of horses, right? You pay £60 a year and you get to go to the stables and stuff like that, right? Just because I own 0.00, I've got no say in that horse. I'm just a wee micro share. So it's the same if you've got 0.1% of Celtic, you're not going to have a say. It's all right putting all this money in, but you're not, do you know what I mean? But in terms of obviously what we're saying in terms of the change, mate, listen, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. We're just fans. We just support the club. We just debate about the club, whether we are experts on it or we're no experts or we're saying the right things. It's opinions and what we are feeling. So, but in terms of the club going forward, mate, the communication side of it is something that we spoke about today on the phone. It's something that majority of the fan base and this chat and other social media platforms, the communications are shambles with Football Club JP. Like you mentioned, with Jota now, obviously I've done a similar injury to Jota, so I understand that the complications, his injury might get setbacks. He might know them. There could be things that we don't know about with Jota that's holding him back. It could be hammy injuries. It could be anything, right? So Brendan Rodgers gave a rough guide. January, he's probably right. 9 months to over a year is probably right at that level of football. But it's obviously got complications. So he's obviously had complications, JP. Mm-hmm. With Carter Vickers, I'm being honest, I don't know the full extent of his injuries. Again, we don't know. But we've not had anybody for the club come out and saying, right, Cameron's back on the pitch. He's doing this. He's hopefully back doing this. Osman, we know he's coming back. But no time frame. I get they might not want to see a time frame, but they're putting everything behind paywalls. They're putting everything in wee small clips. Martin's come out not really known about Casper's injury, about if he's going to be playing or no. He's done the wiser. Well, listen, we all know, JP, that he's protecting the player. He's not going to come out and say, what is he doing that for? Or I know everything. I don't. He's protecting the player. Do you know what I mean? But us as fans, mate, we deserve better in terms of, like I mentioned to you today, JP, I don't mind paying my season, but right, I'm a Celtic fan. I love the football. Even if we might not do well, it's my hobby, right? Obviously, determine on the prices. If it goes to like £1,000 a year, listen, I'm not going. I'm not paying that to watch Scottish football, right? But that's a different scenario. But putting everything behind a paywall, mate, is a shambles. Pre-season training, we'll give you a 2-minute clip. Every other, like Swansea, Wrexham, even Spurs at Sheffield Wednesday when they were there, they're all putting 15, 20-minute clips up on YouTube about how they're doing their weights training, how they're doing their testing. That shouldn't be behind a paywall, mate. That should be. Plus, that also gets fans into the football club. It could be young kids want to know how the club are training, what they're doing. Like me, I love seeing pre-season training videos. I love seeing it. I love seeing how they're developing, what their testing is like. I love all that. And then they're inviting. I'm not going to mention too much about it, but then they're inviting a Liverpool fan media into an interview with Oxlade-Chamberlain, and then they're not letting their own fans in. They're not responding to fans. They're not telling us the 6-month plan, the year plan, the 5-year plan. You've got Partick Thistle, Ian Barraclough came out and telling the plan for the summer, the plan for January, the plan for 6 months.
I think as a football club,
100%.
We've certainly got bigger things to worry about than somebody coming in.
But it's the principle, though, mate. They're letting that. By the way, this isn't on Oxlade-Chamberlain. It's the principle that they're wanting unity, mate, and then they're letting an access to somebody who's not involved with Celtic to do an interview. Why can he not do that down south and not put it on Celtic's channel, or etc., etc.? Why let him go down south and do it? Why are they getting the access up here when our own fan media, which I get, there's blockage between. I don't know the full ins and outs of it, which I'm not going to comment on. But they're not letting they're not letting our own fan media in. They're not letting the Green Brigade back in, which is I'm not going to talk about too much because I don't know the full logistics behind it. But they're not letting them in. They're wanting unity. They want the fans back on side, and then they're doing things like that. It's no good for optics, JP. for the club that wants everything to be professionally ran, world class this, world class that, they're no putting it on the best light. That's all I'm saying. And you're right about the communication, mate. They've got to get a proper professional communications. If it's a lazy one or it's a manager or a PR, the club's PR is terrible, mate, as well. That putting up, remember, download your app. Excuse my French. Fuck the Celtic app. We're third in the league. Forget the app. Who cares about the app? We want to win trophies. We're sitting third in the league. That's, you're bang on, mate. Read the room a wee bit, do you know what I mean? Forget the app. Focus what's on the park and behind the scenes.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of communication, it certainly needs megally changed and improved. You know, but listen, if the Celtic fans are getting wrapped up in you know, yeah, Francis, my dad, obviously, who must be similar ages with yourself, he speaks about that as well. So yeah, that was a thing that you could do back in the day, but it's obviously mega changed days since then. Listen, as I said, I think if an interview with Oxlade-Chamberlain isn't going to keep me up at night time. I don't care who done it. I couldn't care less who came in and interviewed them. To me, that doesn't matter. We've got bigger fish to fry than worrying about who's coming in and interviewing one of our players. And if that's annoying you, for me personally, you've not got enough going on. If that's going to, Celtic obviously on they're no enough to what there's no enough to worry about there. We've got 7 games left of the league season, mate. We're obviously still in the Scottish Cup, so we've got quite a bit to. I'm not missing the point, Ryan. I'm not missing the point. I'm just not letting it bother me, mate. I'm sort of bypassing that issue. I'm not missing the point. I get where people are coming from. But I can't talk about the politics as to why the situation is with the football club and what's happening with as Brian mentioned, the Green Brigade. As Ryan mentioned, sorry, the Green Brigade, because I don't know enough about what's going on. I'm not in the section. I don't come for that section. I don't understand what's going on. So I understand obviously there's some sort of disagreement somewhere, or there's things not happening. I'm not going to be silly enough to sit here and just start saying things when I don't know what's going on, because I don't know what's going on. So I'm not missing the point. Yeah, because that's football, Ryan. I don't combine football and politics, mate. I wouldn't be, by the way, I wouldn't be surprised.
And then they'll blame the defeat for tennis balls. Oh Jesus!
But in terms of there's obviously clear politics as to why that matter's not being resolved. So that is what it is. But I'm more focused on the football team. I'm not focused on an interview by an Anfield media team coming in to interview Oxlade-Chamberlain. I'm not focused on, this not happening. I'm not focused on that not happening. I'm not focused on we've got millions of injuries. I'm focused on Dundee as the next league game of the season. It's the most important one of the season so far, and it's the next one we need to try and win. That's where my head is. So I'm not worried about. I don't let things like that worry me, because it's something I can't control. So, but again, Ryan, that's down to your opinion, mate. That's you speaking of your opinion, and that's fair enough. But that is what it is, mate. I'm not missing any points. I understand people's points of view. I understand that people have got different ideas about what might be going on, and that's totally fine. But my concentration was Celtic and the football team, and obviously trying to salvage if we can manage to do it. If we can't, then we can't. Again, as I said, maybe I'm different. I'm not gonna. You'll not see me shouting and roaring, and Ryan might take about a fortnight off the podcast if Celtic don't win the league this season. But I'll certainly not be. I'll certainly not be. You know, it is what it is. And I'm not going to be told if any individual I'm doing the right thing or I'm doing the wrong thing. Same way as I'm not going to sit here and tell any individual that comments or any of you guys that are representing this podcast with me that you are doing the right thing or doing the wrong thing. That is what it is.
Just put a 5 on the donation jar, Toby boy.
Yes, I was just actually thinking that Toby must have has more than a fiver by now, man, the amount of times he's been late. If he was part of this podcast, I think that'd have been 3 strikes and he was out one of them ones. Toby must have has about 10 shout-outs in that radio station, you know. And I'm not saying your job's busy, Toby, but definitely a shout-out's needed. Yeah, as I said, it's, you know, what's going on at the football club, you know, I certainly can as an individual control, you know, and people are well within their rights to do what they want to do. People don't want to go and watch Celtic. People don't want to go to the games. People don't want to spend money in the shops. People don't want. Listen, that's totally fine. That is totally fine. You know, I've been watching Celtic a long time now to understand, Ryan, that you know you can't tell somebody they're right or wrong. You can't tell somebody to do what what they can do, what they can't do. Everybody, even the guys that will sit round about you, everybody sees things differently, and yeah, that is what it is, you know. So, like I says, the only thing that concerns me is.
I might be back next year, Francis. Don't worry about it, mate. Might be back. You might get a wish.
Listen, it's one of those things. We tried that one with the dial-in, and nobody else could get a word in, Francis, because you had his own spiel. you were on all the time. So, but, I know obviously we're coming to the end of the night, Ryan, but like I say, mate, I do agree. Listen, there's definitely a change needed, mate. There's certainly a lot of things that need brushed up upon, but there's bigger things, more to worry about than another media team, coming in to interview Oxlade-Chamberlain. If that's becoming the forefront of headlines and that's becoming, then God help us.
See, I'm more off for opinions. Listen, I've probably said things people disagree with, and they're probably shouting at the telly, or they're shouting, listening to Spotify, or even if some of my other pals who might be Rangers fans or Celtic fans, Ryan, listen, that's fine. But sometimes there's having an opinion, but there's things that you can see, and I'm like, that's there. Like, it's an opinion, but there's things that are clear at Celtic that. There's having an opinion, then there's seeing things that are clear, and what's clear right now is behind the scenes it's a shambles, and things, and people got opinions saying it might not be that it is. But again, that's fine. But for me, there's clear issues at Celtic behind the scenes. Even if we win the league or no, there's clear issues behind the club, and change has to happen. I'm not saying that every board member has to go, but there's got to be change. Either guys need to step back into different roles and let other guys who are maybe more modernisation type thing, like, we'll obviously not mention too much about him because it's not into the show, but obviously Don Mackay came in, fin a few weeks, boom, see you later, and things changed back to the way it used to be. The penny pinching, the biscuit tin, and no buying, scouting other areas. It was a bit like, basically, as some of the commenters saying, it was a wee bit of neglect. the club as well. But listen, it is what it is. We are where we are. No matter what me, yourself, the commenters, no matter what us fans say, we can only debate, we can only argue, we can only put our opinions, our views, what should be happening, what shouldn't be happening, and what we feel. No matter what happens, as long as you guys are still in charge, it's not going to change. So no matter, we can debate, we can slaughter people, we can praise them, it's not going to change until guys at football club change. So that's just the way it is, unfortunately. But yeah, Dundee and Sunday, JP, we need to win. Even if we don't win, listen, we could still win the league. If we do, I'll be so happy. I'll probably go on a 2-day bender, celebrating, singing Celtic songs. I'll be so happy. But if we get beaten Sunday, I'm probably going to be very deflated, and I'll probably walk away from the game thinking to myself that the title's finished. But I don't want to think that. But I just, listen, you've got to look at it two ways. If we win the game, then you're like back in the mix and you just keep going. It's like we mentioned, normally, JP, it's the next game, it's the next game, it's the next game. That's the way it's going to be until it's done. So yeah, trying to get a good performance. Hopefully we've got no more injuries for Sunday. Everybody's fresh. My main issue is now is going to win the league. That's we'll talk about the board when things pop up, as obviously we need to do when stuff happens in the media. But I'm like you, the most important thing is we win on Sunday. We try and get this league done if we can, and win a double as well. That's the Scottish Cup still even if the league doesn't happen, the Scottish Cup still that we won. I think, let's be honest, we need to be going to win that now. With the teams that are left, again, no disrespect, we're not doing well. We've got St Mirren again. I get it. We could beat off in the last final, but we should be going to win the Scottish Cup. We're Celtic, we're the champions. We should be going, right, we're going to go win the Scottish Cup. So, let's see what happens, mate, and hopefully Sunday's a good victory for us, because I don't really want to be coming on here on Monday and then been deflated.
No, 100%, mate. That's, you know, I mean, that's part and parcel of Celtic, mate. Sometimes quite a lot of the time we're feeling amazing, and sometimes you get that feeling where you don't feel quite as good. But my mantra has always been right, even when I played, was I don't get too carried away when we win, or I used to win, and it used to help me not get too down when I didn't. Because winning something that you cannot take for granted, and when you do it, you need to try and enjoy every minute of it, and try and take it all in, because you don't know when the next time's going to be. Fortunately, mate, we support a football club that, you know, we've managed to make it look really, really easy for quite a long time now. And I've always said, winning in football is the hardest thing to do. So, I actually caught a wee glimpse of a comment there saying that I look like Eddie Munster. I've not heard that one, but I actually resent that remark. I really, really do, because if anybody knows the real truth, they definitely think Eddie looks like me. No,
I didn't know who he is.
Eddie Munster used to be an old programme. It was called The Munsters. It was on the TV back in the day, long time ago. But that is really bad to say that I look like him, because he definitely looks like me. But that is what it is. I'm still happy. I'm smiling. And, you know, hail. And we're on to the next one, as Ryan says. But that's all we've got time for this very evening. Thank you very much for everybody that's stay tuned with us throughout this night. I do apologise that we've maybe not been able to get through everybody's comments tonight. I do apologise for that. We've managed to see as many as we can, try and include as many as we can. Ryan, that's a few times now. The dial-in has been getting asked for, mate. Maybe we'll need to have a wee chat in the background about things going forward, especially if there's more people want to be taking part. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because obviously you guys need to put up with us loonies. Maybe that night we get to put up with you loonies. Who knows? We'll need to see if that's I go or I'm not. But yeah, as I said, folks, hope everybody's been well over the weekend. Hope everybody has a good week coming up. Ryan, cheers again for coming on and having a chat, mate. It's good to get your thoughts tonight.
Yeah, good chat again, mate. Always good to come on with yourself. Aye, like you mentioned, mate, it's just about getting Celtic back onto the winning tail again. We need it, so let's just hope we get 3 points on Sunday, because if we don't, then I think it's turn your phone off for a few years and sit in a dark room with a bit of bleach and just relax and listen to some Bob Marley or something. I don't know, but aye, let's hope we get 3 points on Sunday. Try and be positive, and let's try and win this league, mate, if we can.
Aye. I'm imagining if we don't win against Dundee, mate, a few years will be listening to the Redemption song. But yeah, so for the time being, folks, take care, and we'll see you all again on the next one. Hail, hail.